today's video, we're going to focus on hip mobility. So we've been getting a lot of people into the clinic complaining of tight, stiff hips, and they're getting pain even with sitting, walking, running, sometimes with deep squats or kicking a football, things like that. So we're going to target some of the main muscles of the hip today, including the hip flexors and then a bit of the adductors, which are the inner thigh muscles, and the glutes and then hamstrings as well. So we'll get started off on our hands and knees. So I want your knees to just be directly under your hips, and then hands should be directly under your shoulders. So for this, I just want you to not be arching or rounding up like this. So back is nice and flat. Draw your belly button in towards your spine gently to activate your core. Then we're going to tap the left foot out to the side and bring the leg back behind you, and then the right foot out to the side. So make sure you keep your knees in contact with the mat and just move the foot. So this is going to get some internal rotation into the hips, which is usually the stiffest movement. So if this is pinching at all, that's okay. Don't worry if it's not too sore. If it's just a small little pinch, that just means that there's a bit of stiffness in the joint as you stretch it out. Hopefully that should ease throughout the exercise. So see each time, can you tap a bit further? So go a little bit further each time, just getting internal rotation into the hips, just to loosen up that joint. Good, so we'll do one more to the left. See if you can go a bit further. Good, and then one more to the right. Perfect. Then we're going to stay on our hands and knees. I'm just going to go this way so you can see a bit better. We're going to bring that left leg out to the side. So straight away, you might feel that stretch into those adductor muscles there. And if you bring that other knee a little bit further away, it's going to be more intense. If it's a bit too sore, keep this knee just under your hip. But if it feels okay, if it's not too sore, bring that knee out a bit further. And then I want you to lean your hips back just slightly to feel a bit more of the stretch there. And then if you want to feel it even more, just coming up here. I think it's easy just to put your hands on your hips just for balance. Good, so leaning back slightly, getting a nice stretch here. And then if you want to make it even more intense, leaning to the side. So if this is painful in your knee at all, just keep a soft little bend in it. Maybe just don't hyperextend it. So bring the arch of the foot flat down onto the mat. And then if this is too sore reaching across, just stay up like this and just focus on stretching out this area here. And then if this is too sore even coming up, then just stay down here. Just do what you can. Good, and then gently bending that left knee. And then we're gonna do the right side, or whichever side you didn't do. So starting out, just bringing that leg out to the side. Straight away, hopefully feeling that stretch just into the adductor. And it's up to you. You can move that knee out a little bit. It might be a bit tighter on this side, it might be looser. So just listen to your body and just do what feels right. So leaning the hips back just slightly and coming up. So hopefully feeling a nice stretch here. And then if you'd like, reaching over. And then again, if it's too intense, maybe just coming back here, or if it's too intense, going back to the starting position. So we're just gonna hang out here for one more second. Getting a nice stretch. Good, and then bringing the hands down, gently bending that leg, bring it back behind you. Then we're gonna stretch out the hip flexors. So we're going to bring the left foot forward into a low lunge position. For one of these stretches, if you have a chair handy or a sofa, that makes it a little bit easier. But if you don't, that's okay. There's other options as well. So the main mistake people make is they arch their back and lean forward like this, and they're not fully stretching out the hip flexors here. The hip flexor is actually the iliopsoas muscle. It originates in your back. So when you arch your back, you don't really get the full stretch of it. So you really want to tuck your hips under. So keeping the back flat and then maintaining that as you lean forward. So if you can see here, my back is nice and flat. I'm not arching like this. So back flat, leaning forward, and then hopefully straight away feeling a stretch in the hip flexors. And then to increase that, you can reach over with the right arm and just get a bit more of a stretch. So make sure not to arch that back. Keep it nice and flat. And then another hip flexor muscle called your rectus femoris goes all the way down and goes over your knee. So to get that one, there's a few different options. So option one, if you have good balance, is to bend your knee yourself and just hold like this and just gently leaning forward. You can tuck your hips under and you should feel that down the thigh. The other option, if you have a chair or a couch somewhere handy, or maybe even if your bed is a bit lower, backing up and then putting the foot onto the chair or sofa, whichever it is, and then tucking the hips under and then just leaning forward. So you'll feel this a bit stronger, more down the thigh rather than up in the crease here. So just hanging out here for a minute. And again, you can even reach over and stretch all of the hip flexors at once. Good. And then don't worry if you can't bend the back knee if it's a bit too stiff. Just keep it flat and just focus on stretching out the other hip flexor muscles. So now we're going to get the other side. So bringing that right leg forward, starting off with the iliopsoas muscle. So again, tucking those hips under, leaning forward, and hopefully feeling that right in the crease here. So you might not feel it as strong on this side. Maybe the other side's a bit tighter, so we're not symmetrical. So sometimes one side can be stiffer than the other side. Good, and then reaching over with that left arm to increase the stretch. Don't arch the back as you reach over. And you could try some nice breaths here. Sometimes it can be hard to balance with this one. So if you're close to a wall, that's an idea as well. You can put one hand onto the wall for a bit of extra balance. Good. And then if you have that chair handy, or it's up to you, you can bend the leg and grab it, or you can scooch up close to the chair and then come up just like this. And then feeling that nice stretch. Can be quite strong down the thigh. Good. And keeping that flat back. And then reaching across again if you want to stretch all of them at once. Perfect. And then take your time just moving that out of the way if you do have a chair. And then we're going to come onto our backs to stretch out the glutes. So we're going to bend both knees and cross the right ankle over the knee. Grab behind that left thigh and just pull the knee in nice and tight. And you should feel that stretch hopefully into the right glutes here, and you might feel it a bit down the thigh as well. Shoulders are relaxed, chin is tucked in. Make sure you're not coming up rounded like this. If this stretch is a bit too stiff to pull your leg up, that's okay. Just keep your foot down and just push your knee away. So whatever you can do here. And then switching over. So left ankle over the right knee. And just pulling that knee in nice and tight, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Nice deep breaths here. And then we're going to bring that left foot down onto the mat. Keep holding onto the right leg. Straighten up that right leg to stretch out the hamstring muscles. So there's a hamstring muscle that crosses over the knee joint in the back called your biceps femoris. So keeping the knee nice and straight, we're going to target that one. If you have a strap or a scarf or whichever, a towel, you can use that as well and pull the leg towards you to get more of an intense stretch. Otherwise, just holding the leg, trying to get that knee straight. And then bending the knee, hug the knee in tight to your chest, and then hold it nice and tight, and then try to straighten the leg from there. So most likely you won't get it perfectly straight when it's in like this, unless you're extremely flexible. But this is going to stretch our biceps. Oh no, sorry, the other one got our biceps femoris. This is going to get our semimembranosus and tendinosus. So those are a little bit further back, these hamstring muscles, so you'll feel the stretch further back towards the glutes. And then we'll bend that knee and grab behind the left leg. So now we're getting the biceps femoris on the left leg. Good. Shoulders are relaxed. Good. Trying to keep that knee straight. And then again, bending that knee and holding it tight and straightening the leg up from there. Don't worry if it's a bit shaky. Good. Feeling the stretch deeper back towards the glutes. Perfect. Bending that knee. And then we're just going to finish off with one more adductor stretch, so the inner thigh muscles. I've always called this butterfly stretch. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring the soles of your feet together, sit up nice and straight, and then you can use your elbows to gently push your knees towards the ground, and you'll feel that stretch just into the inner thigh and into the groin area. So some people are very flexible, they can get their knees all the way down to the ground, or some people's knees are way up like this, so that's okay. So just push just as much as you can, just so it's not too sore. Perfect, and then we will finish with that.